Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Happy Monday. We're back at it. And there's no shortage of things to talk about. By the way, no, I wanted to share this with you guys. I just told Steven off air. So our neighborhood has all of these, it's an HOA. So we have like restrictions and all this stupid nonsense that we put Steven on the HOA board so that we could like have as little restrictions as possible. We needed someone based on the board. And so someone sent in an email asking about yard signs, because we have yard signs in our yard. We've got a couple other neighbors who have Trump signs in their yard as well. And we actually have 2 signs in our yard because I said every single time they try to kill him, I'm putting up another damn sign. So there's a bunch of Trump signs in our yard, and we have one neighbor who I believe to be the neighbor who sent in the email asking about yard signs and whether or not we were allowed to put our Trump signs out, because now there's just one little Harris Walls sign in this little yard. Actually, it's not one, Stephen, it's 2. This is what I was telling Stephen, because I guess like times are so tough that they couldn't afford to go to the actual campaign website and get the yard sign that's double-sided. So what they did was they just actually bought 2 signs that are not double-sided and tried to stick them up against one another to create the illusion of one sign. But you can see that it's 2 signs. And I'm just wondering, if times are so tough that you can't afford a real campaign sign, why in the hell are you voting for Kamala Harris? I would just pose that question. I actually really hope that my neighbor comes across this video. I just want to know, neighbor. So today, the Department of Justice has actually revealed that the would-be Trump assassin, Ryan Routh, however you want to say his name, I don't care how it's said. Actually, he had put a $150,000 bounty on Donald Trump's head. Yeah. Where did he get that money? I don't know. He's poor. Where would he have found that money? I don't know. But they revealed this in this public court filing. He had written this handwritten letter, okay? And this is what they say. Yeah, I'm going to read it in just a second. So this is what they say on September 18th, 2024. This is in the court filing. You can go read it. Law enforcement was contacted by a civilian witness who stated that Routh had dropped off a box at his residence several months prior. Do we know who this witness is? No. No idea who this witness is. I hope that we learn who it is, okay? Because he says that this guy, Ryan Routh, dropped off a box at his house, but he never looked into what was inside it. And so he says, after learning of the September 15th, 2024 incident, this is how it's written, incident at Trump International, the witness opened the box. The witness stated the box contained ammunition, a metal pipe, miscellaneous building materials, tools, 4 phones, and various letters. One of them was addressed to the world, and it said, among other things, "This was an assassination on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job." He goes on. "Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, know that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less a U.S. president. U.S. presidents must at bare minimum embody the moral fabric that is America and be kind, caring, and selfless and always stand for humanity. Trump fails to understand any of this." Now, it is pretty funny to me that this guy, we know he had the Biden-Harris sticker on his truck. He thinks that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at bare minimum embody the moral fabric that is America and that they are kind, caring, and selfless. Yeah, Joe's real selfless, all right, to the tune of millions and millions of dollars that he raked in. You know, that 10%. He's just skimming that 10% off the top for the big guy through all of these corrupt business dealings. Oh my God, that is so selfless. It is so caring to let in millions and millions of unvetted strangers into this country to wreak havoc across all the cities across America. Wow, that is so kind and caring. But I really want to know, where did Ryan Routh get, or where would he have gotten $150,000? I don't know. It's a lot of money for someone who's poor, who has no assets except like 2 pickup trucks to his name. So Ryan Routh was in court today. He is facing 2 gun crimes: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. By the way, the prosecutors do say they are planning on asking a grand jury to indict him on attempted assassination of a former U.S. president. I know a lot of people have been asking, why didn't they charge him with that to begin with? They do say that they intend to seek that as well. And we find out today that he had been stalking Donald Trump for a month leading up to his arrest. Now, the judge ordered that Ryan Routh be held without bail until the trial. But, you just have to wonder, right? Because we can talk all day about the rhetoric that the left uses against Donald Trump, the tone that they use about, oh my God, he's a threat to democracy, he must be stopped. I mean, the Trump campaign did an amazing job of highlighting that. They did this press release. It was like 4 pages of just Democrats making very, very incendiary remarks about Donald Trump. He needs to be stopped. He needs to be shot. All sorts of stuff. Okay, so obviously Donald Trump is like, hey, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, this guy's just acting off of the rhetoric that they are spewing every single day. Donald Trump said this guy believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris and he acted on it. Their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at when I'm the one who is going to save the country, and they are the ones that are destroying the country both inside and out. And so you see this rhetoric, you know that it's amping people up. You see this guy releasing a freaking $150,000 bounty on Donald Trump's head, but you saw the DOJ and the FBI go to severe lengths when it came to the Nashville Covenant School shooters manifesto, severe lengths to keep that under wraps, right? I mean, they already released this in a public court filing. They knew that it would be public. They had no problem releasing this. But the Nashville shooters manifesto, which, by the way, remember, this took place all the way back in March 27th of 2023. You had innocent babies, children who were murdered, and they fought tooth and nail so that you couldn't see the manifesto. Remember, we only have 90 pages from the murderer's manifesto. They're calling it a journal now. They called it a manifesto to begin with because the Tennessee Star over in Nashville defied a court order not to disclose it. The FBI was over there sending memos to local law enforcement. They were strongly urging them, don't release it. It could create copycats. They also said it contains sensitive information about the school's layout that would threaten their safety, which everything we read, there was no such thing in there, right? So isn't it strange? Isn't it bizarre that now all of a sudden they want to release that? They want to release the information. So when you're trans, you get to kill a bunch of innocent children, and the DOJ and the FBI are going to go to great lengths to keep your manifesto totally secret, under lock and key. They'll lie about it. They'll claim that it contains stuff that it doesn't actually contain because we're just concerned about the safety and security of innocent people. But when you're the left's political opposition who's already been shot, you're one of the most important people, arguably, in the world, they suddenly have absolutely no problem including the manifesto in a public court filing, especially when it includes an offer to pay someone to kill Donald Trump. Is that a little strange? And by the way, I don't mind them releasing the manifesto or the letter, whatever you want to call it. I don't mind them releasing this from Ryan Routh. I just wish that they had this same level of transparency when there's something that goes against their agenda. Right? I just wish that we had the same level of transparency anytime something like this happens. The public deserves to know, how did this happen? What prompted this person to do such an unspeakably evil thing? We always should know. But it just seems strange that they're amping up all of this rhetoric. Seems like every day there's like a new assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. And they're like, oh, by the way, interested in 150K, anyone? Just strange. Just saying. All right, we've got more to come, but I want to thank our sponsor, this segment, Relief Factor. So, look, millions of Americans, including millions of Americans live in constant pain. It doesn't have to be that way. All right, let me tell you about Relief Factor if you haven't already heard about it, or maybe you have and you keep holding off on ordering it. What the hell are you waiting for? If you live in pain, you know that it affects every single aspect of your life. Okay, you might be, you have less patience with your children or your spouse, and you're just like walking around just kind of like, oh, God, I'm in pain. Don't do that. Try Relief Factor. It's an all-natural anti-inflammatory. It's very, very super potent. It was developed by doctors who were tired of prescribing drugs to their patients that made them like loopy and it was addictive and all that. Don't do that. Those are bad for you. Try Relief Factor. They have a 3-week quick start. 70% of the people who order it keep ordering more. It's working for that many people. It can work for you. And they have a guarantee. So you have nothing to lose except your pain. All right. Try it. ReliefFactor.com. Go get that 3-week quick start. It is $19.95. And like I said, they have a guarantee. So there's no reason not to. ReliefFactor.com. Welcome to the show. BlazeTV contributors, both Matthew Marsden along with Jaco Booyens. Happy Monday, gentlemen.
Happy Monday.
Glad that you're here.
You.
And
I like how you say Marsden.
Marsden. Well, I do have
Very distinguished. It's sir.
Yes. Well, I tried to. It's just that I'm really bad at accents, first of all. So I can't really do it correctly.
I don't know.
But I feel like
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I disagree completely.
Good job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel like he can say something that's like very crass, but with his accent, it sounds very
both
fancy.
have accents.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You
true,
can do it.
we
You
do.
can do it too.
I think Sarah just likes accents. That's why we get to be on the show.
I do, actually.
No, well, you hate immigrants, clearly.
Yeah, right. Well, you did things the legal way for
Legal.
starters.
Legal.
I was just talking about you guys the other day, actually, because I was having a conversation with a friend and we were talking about how legal immigrants are the most patriotic people that you could, because they know what it's like to be somewhere that things could go horribly wrong very quickly. So yeah, I was just talking about you guys. So speaking of immigration though, aren't things going great in this country?
Yay.
Well,
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's border policy. Border czar Kamala Harris currently running for highest office of the land. I just would like to point out as many times as we can make sure to tie her to the
without
border.
a vote.
Right. Yeah. But they care about democracy, Jaco.
And who's the other guy? Who's that other person? Kamala, and who's the other person?
What, her running mate or the person running against her?
No, the other person you mentioned.
Oh, Bite who? I don't know.
That guy.
I don't know. We don't know.
That guy.
We don't know. Actually, we're going to get to him later in the show.
Okay.
So, Kamala, she's said a lot of crazy radical things, but she's particularly in hot water now for a resurfaced video from 2018 when she was, running for president before, when we were all on the same page that like she really sucks and I'm not going to make the joke. She's very terrible at what she does. She's not likable. She's very radical. She's way too radical for this country. We were all in agreement that many years ago that Kamala Harris would be bad for America. But I'd just like to refresh because everyone's very shocked at this. I'm not shocked at all. I just want to refresh you guys who Kamala Harris is. Maya Angelou says, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Right? So let's believe Kamala Harris from this 2018 video at a parade chanting down with deportation. Watch.
Down with deportation, up with education, down with deportation, up with education, down with deportation, up with education.
Wow. Yeah, that's enough. She's really trying to get into it too. Really going with that beat there. That is who Kamala Harris is, right? It is not a coincidence that we have millions and millions and millions of unvetted strangers coming into the country right now. That's by design, because that is who Kamala Harris is. And I just think that we just need to remind people as often as possible. She's just now starting to try to talk about getting tough on the border, but she will do it when she gets into office. You're in office now, dingbat. Do it now. You're the border czar. You could literally do it right now, and you've chosen not to. Why? Because she's a radical. Because we see what they do. In 10 years, they will be pushing for amnesty for the people who are entering right now. Right now.
You You always do a good job, but you did a really good job covering the fact that the notice to appear, remember the notice to appears, and they still happen. They're 20, 35, 20. They're beyond
Why is that?
10 years. Because if you look at immigration policy, that's called a landed immigrant, a landed migrant. They have status. They actually have status once they set their feet here, but when a certain time passes, they're not going. They
I have a family, I have a home, I have a job.
100%.
My life is here.
But an hour and a half ago, I'm on the phone because we're going back to the border in a week and a half. We're doing a mission on the border, a huge big thing on the border. We're going back 29th or 30th trip to the border. So I'm on the phone with a former executive and a leader on the border. Do you know what I learned today?
What?
Most of Border Patrol today, they're volunteers. No, they were in the armed forces, but they volunteered to go to the border. They have no funding. They borrow equipment from other law enforcement agencies across the country. They're literally scattershot grabbing equipment. They don't have equipment. They don't have funding. They're not on assignment. You've got accountants within law enforcement running border operations in combat. You've got engineers running programs to decide who gets asylum and doesn't get asylum. Today, it's a complete cluster, and it's by design. So it's not just that the border is open. Even those stationed at the border to control the border, the Texas National Guard has Texas Guard has been completely neutered. I learned today. They have no voice. They can do nothing, right? So they hate Operation Lone Star. The Fed can't stand it. They're completely silenced. It is, the whole thing is a complete disaster. And it is 100% Kamala Harris. Even more than Joe Biden, although he is the president, the commander in chief. But this is her portfolio.
1,000,000%.
This is her portfolio. This is your job.
Right. And again, this was by design. And so you literally, it could not be, the stark contrast could not be more clear. Donald Trump will deport these people. Kamala Harris will fight to keep them here. Period. Choose your fighter, America.
Let them vote. And can we just say, and it's not 385,000, it's more than 500,000 children lost, raped, plundered, working 2 a.m. at McDonald's, whatever it is, labor trafficking, because of Kamala Harris. She stands account for almost 500,000 children from the rest of the world. Where's the cry from the rest of the world saying crimes against humanity? Like, what do you mean you lost 500,000 children?
Yeah.
Where are they? Well, we don't know.
Yeah, well, part of the issue with this is the mainstream media just repeating the same old BS that the same old Democratic talking points because they want them to win, right? And they know that this alone should mean that she should never be anywhere near the presidency. I mean, it's unbelievable what is going on. And if people truly knew, if it was properly covered, it'd be over. Right. And so they are complicit as well. I mean, this is very, very, very serious. And it's not just the kids. Again,
no.
They try and say that they're being so compassionate. They want to be compassionate when they're in there. It doesn't matter that there are the rape trees out there, the young girls like disappearing, going into just horrible things that are going to scar them for the rest of their lives. It's fighting age males. How many times have we said this coming over the border? If they strike at Iran, right? Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait, because don't think that they don't have all these cells over here. They do. And secondly, if they can't protect the president of the United States, which, that happened like 5 years ago. Right? No, it happened like last month. And then the month before that, if they can't protect the president, what chance do we have?
Yeah.
It's really, really, really bad.
So Kamala, I mean, the border issues are one thing. Is one thing. And in a long laundry list of things that have gone terribly wrong during this Biden-Harris regime's tenure. But she was asked also about, because, she just recently, what was it, a week or two ago, they finally put actual platforms on her campaign website. Prior to that, they had nothing. It was just like,
you're 40 days away from being the president of the free world, and you've got no.
That's what I'm saying. What is your plan? Because remember, she keeps getting asked. Okay, well, you've told us price controls, and you've given us a little bit of a from the bleachers 50-foot view. But Can you dig in on that? What is your plan for the economy? Because you admit that it sucks, even though you're in charge right now. How are you going to fix it? What is your plan? She was asked about it early. I think this was yesterday, but she was asked about it. Here is that exchange. Watch.
Are you giving an economic speech this week, Madam
Yes.
President? Can you tell us anything about what that's going to be about? Any preview?
So I'm going to be giving a speech this week that is really to outline my vision for the economy. As you've heard me talk about, I believe in what we can create in terms of opportunity for the American people.
I mean,
I've named it
she's
an opportunity
moronical.
economy, which really, in short form, is about what we can do more to invest in the aspirations, the ambitions, and the dreams of the American people while addressing the challenges that they face, whether it be the high price of groceries or the difficulty in being able to acquire home ownership, because for a number of reasons, including we don't have enough housing
Will
supply.
the care economy be part of this?
I will touch on it for sure. Yeah.
That is such a punt. It is such a punt.
She is the kid who didn't read the book, who is giving a book report, and
So
she's just
true.
coming up with as many words as she can string together.
That's well put. That's exactly.
That's
what
her.
it is. Yeah.
That's her. Less than 50 days to the election, and she's like, I will be speaking about more in depth on what I am going to do to help the economy, because people need more opportunity. We need an opportunity economy. What the hell does that even
A
mean?
lot of ethereal stuff like ideology. And we're also going to talk about things costing more. When? Well, once you elect me. Does this not sound like AOC? Pass the bill so we can read
Yeah, that
it.
was Nancy Pelosi. Good old Nancy.
Pelosi. Pass the bill so we
have
can
to
read
have to
it.
pass the bill so we can find out what's in it. We gotta pass it.
No, but this is the mindset of these people.
It is.
We're in a lot of trouble. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble. I mean, these literally are the stupidest people around. And they're running the country. But it's not just that. It's like when you stop and think about, the hierarchy in the military. Just think about that. Don't even just think about the economy.
no.
Think about the people that can that control the submarines.
Yeah.
The gender neutral submarines can't. If there's any ship.
You
or
mean you don't
anything
want a
in the world-
general that straps back? Right? You don't want a general that tucks and straps back and go, let's fire. Right? I mean, you don't want that? I mean, throw them overboard. I mean, come on, man. I mean, where are we? Who's more stupid? Kamala or the people that buy this crap?
It's
The
unbelievable.
people that listen to her, the people that are still going to go vote for her. Who's more idiotic?
But
Yeah.
you know, I got to
you're
say,
right.
just say this quickly. So a few weeks ago, I went out on Twitter and I said, I bet you can't tell me the top 5 items that Trump and Kamala Harris are putting out. Like, give me the top 5. And people are like, we know what Trump's top 5 is. We know. I'm like, that's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't, normally there's a comparison. There's a stark comparison between the two.
Apples to apples, baby.
And you can't give me the 5. My point was, you can't give me the 5 of Kamala because she doesn't have them. They're trying to make it into a personality contest. And by the way, she has 0 personality, right? So it shows you how desperate they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are in deep trouble, which is why we're seeing, and I believe that something very drastic is going to happen over the next 30 days.
But Matt, you know what's sad when you look at it? Honestly, I've asked myself a lot. Then what's the card they hold, right? Because they have nothing. They've got nothing in Kamala. She hasn't won a single vote, no electoral vote, nothing. What do they hold? Sadly, they hold the Americans that are stupid,
Yeah.
that have historically just voted dumb, that haven't thought about it, that have been indoctrinated. And that's the card that has worked for them in the past. And then they hold a little finagling, a little, thing. But sadly, we still have, look, they have nothing, but it's still going to be a fight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's going to be a fight.
And how did they get to be so stupid when it comes to voting? Oh, public schools.
Hello.
Public schools. They're not learning anything. They're not learning how to critically think. And then they go out and make dumb decisions. And as it turns out, could be, ruining the country. So Kamala, she's running with Tim Walz, who I believe to be a closeted homosexual. I just like to put that out there. I do. But they're in this weird predicament, as I mentioned before, where they're running on the country not being great right now. even though she's in charge. And and they're also like, but we're going to be the ones to fix it. And it's a very strange. I want to play Tim Walz, Kamala's running mate, Tim Walz, who I would say probably about now is regretting the comments that he made at a rally over the weekend, because as soon as he made them, Donald Trump's team was like, we're just going to use that in an ad. Watch.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I mean,
it's so good. We can't afford 4 more years of this. I keep saying this. I'm trying really hard not to yell. Okay. Who is the Harris in Biden-Harris? Who is the Harris, guys?
is it a different Harris?
Who is the Harris? It's the same damn woman who's saying I did such a terrible job in second string, put me in first string.
And at the same time, she's not throwing Joe under the bus. I thought at some point she was going to go, well, that was him. Because logic would say, well, I couldn't really do it. I would have liked to. Maybe I shouldn't give her pointers. That's not happening. It's just, it's awful. It's horrible, America. We're connected. Yes, it's awful. I'm going to make it better. You got Ben Stiller saying she's bringing joy back. Joy.
No, she's just high.
I mean, as a kite.
Yeah, she's just high.
No, but you're seeing that there are some people online that are saying, like, you guys don't understand how it works, the power structure, because she's the vice president, she's not the president. Okay, so then she has no say. So she's been used. So what has she done for the last 4 years then?
Right.
Like, there's no way that you can slice
exactly.
this up that it's good.
Well, her boss has been asleep at the beach 90% of the time. He made her border czar.
Right.
Right? So it's either her or the Obamas or her and the Obamas, and all of them, the whole kit and caboodle, they're all responsible, but it's on her, 100%. Gas pump, on her. Kids missing, on her. Housing crisis, on her. BlackRock running our society, on her. Pile it up.
You could at least say, well, I was privately advocating for, this policy to be changed. The president and I respectfully disagreed on that. I mean, she could at least say, like, well, I was pushing for this position. Not. Right. She's not, of course, because we know she didn't.
She's not smart enough.
Right. Well,
they've already thrown him under the bus, right? Like, he was clearly going ahead, and he still thought, or in whatever kind of dementia-addled way he was thinking that he was running, or rather, Jill was wheeling him up like Weekend at Bernie's, right? So why not just go the full way? Right. Why not just go, no, I did advocate for it, and he didn't go for it. At this point,
right,
as Clinton would say, what difference does it make? It worries me greatly because they have nothing. That they literally have nothing, and they're trying desperately. They're like, look how many people are in the stadium. Hang on a second. You told us last year that people in the stadium didn't mean anything.
It didn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The people that are voting. But now it does matter. They are panicking. I'm very, very worried about them stealing the election. I've got no other. There's no other way to go.
That's what I mean.
Right?
That's what I mean by saying, what cards do they believe they hold, right? Because they're putting her forward. And look, you can't. We have a saying in South Africa. It won't translate to the U.S., but there's this little saying, hey, there's only 2 brain cells floating on a little piece of cork up there, and one fell off, right? I mean, there's not a lot of brain power left with her, right? There's not. But it doesn't matter, and that should concern us the most.
It does. It's actually very depressing. When you see the polls, and you're just like...
Within 5 points?
Yeah.
How is Trump not leading by 48, 49 points?
2 assassination attempts.
Yep.
That's super concerning.
It is. It's crazy. All right, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more, but we want to thank First Liberty. We were just talking about the folks over at First Liberty. So there has been a lot of the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about this, okay? But the radical left, actually, they keep saying, oh, we support court reform on the Supreme Court. No, actually, they just want to pack the Supreme Court with their own handpicked justices to get the outcomes that they want. So whenever you hear them talk about reforming the court, Joe Biden's like, I'm going to reform the Supreme Court before I leave office. They're trying to start court packing. Okay, First Liberty is calling it what it is, which is a Supreme Court coup. And what they are asking you to do is very, very easy. This is going to be the easiest thing someone asks you to do today. Go to supremecoup.com/Sarah. You do spell that with a P at the end, supremecoup.com/Sarah, and just add your name. Add your name to what they're saying. They're saying no to the left Supreme Court coup. And of course, by doing so, you can, at least try to secure the blessings of liberty and protect our future of our constitutional rights for our children and our grandchildren. Now, if Kamala Harris gets in, all bets are off. But for now, go to supremecoup.com/Sarah, sign your name there. Well, good news abounds in the Biden-Harris administration. In response to the surge in violence between Israel and Hezbollah, the United States is sending troops back to the Middle East. Yes, the Pentagon announced today that they would be bringing. They've got 40,000 troops that are there. They're going to be bringing in more. And Jaco, is this public information that you just shared?
It's not public, but it's going to be public. It's public to the families, and I don't mind sharing it. I was on a call an hour and a half ago with a former head of Border Patrol, and they're pulling people from the border to send them to the Middle East.
Which, I mean, that's pretty big, because I would imagine that their duties in the Middle East will be much different than their duties have been at the border.
You mean then rubber stamping voter cards and right to work?
Right. They're going to be like, I'm a little rusty on
but can you imagine at the same time Kamala's telling him I'm going to secure the border, but her administration, she's still the vice president and Biden, getting us involved in another war. Trump had us in no wars, by the way.
Right.
No wars. Now we're sending troops back to the Middle East. Debauchery and we're pulling from our border, servicemen and women from our border to send them to the Middle East. That makes a lot of sense, right?
I mean, it really does. I think I said this a while back. I never really, I understood how important America was to global stability, but I just never really understood how significant it was, and that a weak America causes chaos and instability across the entire world. And I don't this is just such a not great, but it's just such a great highlight of that fact.
Foreigners
right?
can tell you the significance.
Well, right, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you saw what happened under a Donald Trump administration. We had more peace in the Middle East than we had ever had before. We had the Abraham Accords. I mean, he was negotiating deals left and right. Did Russia invade Ukraine under Donald Trump's watch? No. Did we have all of did Hamas invade Israel? No. I mean, we had all of these things that were not entirely peaceful, but more peace than we had seen, perhaps ever. And then in less than 4 years, you see the result of a weak administration, a weak regime. You've got Russia invading Ukraine. You've got what's happening over in Israel, which, by the way, over the weekend it just keeps getting heightened between Israel and now it was Hamas. Hezbollah, they've ramped up their airstrikes inside Lebanon now, targeting, of course, Hezbollah. The State Department has warned Americans to leave Lebanon because it's getting, the tensions are getting so high. We just saw last week the pager incident. So this is all going on, and it's like, guys, again, going back to the polls that we were talking about, it doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. Do you want proof? Go look at the president who was president before Biden. He's running again. We have the option to just not do any of this. He's running again, which is, of course, why the deep state doesn't want him. Right?
Yeah, and we're also... A bigger issue than that, if there can be, is the fact that the people that used to be in the military that are really good have left. We have patriots don't want to sign up anymore. There's a few. We're lowering the standards because of DEI on pretty much everything, from fighter jet pilots all the way through the military. So it's only going to become a matter of time before our enemies understand that we're incompetent as well as weak.
Yeah.
And this is a huge problem. So, and again, what do we get? Oh, all these different intelligence people have come out against Donald Trump. That should tell you everything you need to know. They all need to go. They've all got to go.
100%. And unfortunately, I know Americans don't want to hear this. They're inside. They're already inside. They're inside the government, but there's bad actors inside the people who's going to be in the next administration. Yeah. They're embedded. This is the bureaucratic movement is so deep. You're talking about, look, we're not even talking right now about our armed forces involved in Libya, our armed forces involved. We're not even talking about where other Americans are involved in conflict zones under Joe Biden. It is anarchy, and it's not coordinated. It's not well structured. It's not well funded. The worst thing you can do is to put servicemen and women in harm's danger without funding them properly. They don't have the right equipment, the right gear. We have to talk about the tail that wags the dog in this country called the industrial military complex. We got to start holding these big military contractors responsible. We have to start asking questions of Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and these guys who lobby on K Street and drive for war because they don't exist without war. The military is strong, but the contracts are not plenty.
Right.
Under Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, yeah. Yeah. I do wonder, too. I mean, we are so close to an election, and now we hear we're sending troops back to the Middle East. Zelensky is apparently, you guys were saying off air, in Pennsylvania today. Why Pennsylvania? I have no idea. I don't think he should be here at all. He's supposed to be fighting some war. Why is he here? Oh, to take more of our money. And, you just have to wonder, do voters, I know that typically when you are in the middle of some sort of a war or whatever, voters get very nervous about changing leadership. But I just don't see that changing anyone's minds in this particular case if there were to be some sort of a war that we would be directly involved in. Now, I would argue we've already been involved in these wars. The Russia war is America's war by proxy. Right? It's our war. It's our war. We're
funding the whole one side of
it's our war. It is our war. We're sending them, jets and money and weapons. And, that's our war. I don't agree with it, but that just is the reality of the situation. But if they were to formally say, okay, we're going to war with Russia, do you think that would mean anything different for the election? I
just think it would be a massive distraction.
That's what it is.
That's all the play. I mean, because they've tried to bury I was joking, but I was serious. Like, there's been 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump
that you know of.
That should be it. We shouldn't even be talking about anything. He should be up 15 points, and we should be saying, and actually everyone should be saying, listen, he has to get in because clearly something's going on here. Yeah. And we don't even talk about it. And in fact, if you think about it, we haven't really heard anything from Ukraine. Nothing. It was front and center all the time, right? Just kind of like...
It's very strange. It's unsettling.
It is.
It is unsettling. We also need to say, hey, listen, your debauched extraction out of Afghanistan, we're sending people back.
Right.
We thought you did a good job.
Right.
We thought you did the right thing. When Kamala asked, do you stand by the president's decision? Oh, I was the last one there, remember? Mm-hmm. I stand by the decision.
Room, yeah.
Now we're sending them back?
Yeah.
You're looking at American mothers and fathers saying, we're sending your sons back? Oh, that's right. You don't care about the soldiers. You have them killed. Let's talk about SEAL Team 6 that just disappeared. Let's talk about the 13 fallen that you don't show up. But Donald Trump shows up and then you want to blame him for taking a photograph at Arlington? Are you kidding me? We couldn't run a 10-hour show and just list the atrocities and have enough time, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm perplexed that the American people are not unilaterally saying abandon ship on this administration.
Right. We got to take a break in a second, but going back to Matt, you keep mentioning there's now been 2 would-be, assassins of Donald Trump, and nobody seems to care. I read this headline today and I laughed out loud. I shouldn't, but it just seemed like so stupid. Secret Service approval rating plummets to new low after first Trump assassination attempt. It's like, nope.
Really?
No, duh.
Really?
I'm
Fancy that.
For
Trolling
you.
yourself there.
No, duh. Really? Oh, public approval rating goes down? Why ever would that be the case? It's just like.
And by the way, in all seriousness, what does that mean for our elected officials?
Right.
It's not good.
No.
Because everyone now is going, let's have a pop.
Right.
Let's have a go.
Right. And honestly, we're going to go to break after this. But just real quick, it makes you wonder how many years they have been this vulnerable and just nobody has thought to try it because they've thought, well, their Secret Service, of course I'm not going to get through. Right. There's Secret Service. There's no way that I would ever get to, the point where I would have a chance to take a shot. But just unknowingly, it's just been that vulnerable for so long. I mean, it's just tough to say. All right. We've got to take another quick break. We'll be right back. So parents at a New Hampshire high school have been banned now from wearing pink XX armbands while they attend their female sports there. They've been banned from attending their daughters' soccer games because they were supporting keeping female sports actually female. The school banned them from attending their daughters' soccer games. They were issued, at least two of the parents were issued no trespassing orders. They've got a homecoming game. And one of the parents is like, I can't even go watch my daughter's homecoming game because I'm banned because I dared speak up for my daughter. This is insane. New Hampshire. Okay.
Why Kamala Harris is within 4 points, because we got a whole populace that's lost their mind.
I know. And I mean, so now Stephen just said in my ear, they need to sue. They definitely need to sue.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you've got to believe that that's in, violation of
old school.
Right. But now it is so controversial to say, I don't think that males should be competing against females, especially when I don't have daughters. You guys do. Particularly when it's your own daughter that you're standing up for. And now it's so controversial to do that. The school district says you're banned from coming to these games. Well, insanity.
Here's what they need to do. And again, I hate to say this, but and Jaco was saying this earlier on. You don't send your kids. Yeah. You don't go. Every single kid on that team needs to walk off, and every other parent. This is why you have to send your kids to a school, right, that has your values, or homeschool. It's just the way it is. You have to walk off. My son was playing soccer the other day, and there was a girl on the other side, and now he's getting to the age where if my son goes into a tackle, that kid is going to get hurt.
Yes.
And I see him because he's a gentleman. He's stopping himself.
Yeah, he's going to hurt himself.
And he's going to end up getting hurt. It's insane. But look, it stops when we decide it stops.
Exactly.
When you decide it stops.
Draw a line in the sand, man.
All of this, and like you're saying, Jaco, it's all about participation. How many times have we said, Sarah, and you're like, hey, Matt, I'm going to this thing, and nobody backs her up. Nobody turns up. I did this thing on YouTube. I was like, please go over and subscribe from X to my YouTube channel. Why? To show that people do not care. They're not involved. They're not engaged.
I just told you in the break, Americans are too comfortable. They haven't suffered enough yet, Matt. If you've suffered, if you've lived under tyranny, if you've lived through the brink of civil war in the street, if you've lived in your whole country taken over by radical Islam, you got madmen running the UK at the moment, you got no-go zones, freaking Sharia law on the streets. Americans haven't suffered enough. It's too cushy under Kamala. It's still cushy. It's a little uncomfortable. I got a dude body slamming a girl in a basketball court. I don't want to ruffle the feathers because my life is comfortable, because I don't want to forfeit anything. Shut your mouth, get in the fight, draw a line in the sand, and start for kids.
Right.
If you can't stand for kids, you're worth nothing. To me, you're worth nothing. If you cannot stand for the future generation, don't talk to me about MAGA. Make America great again. America is the future. It is the children. If you cannot stand for a child, you're an oxygen thief. You don't need to be here. Get out of my way. And it's a spineless, gutless culture that we've grown into that I don't know what it's going to take to wake it up. Maybe, I hope it doesn't happen.
I don't either, because, you would think that we could at least look across the pond and see all of the, look at what's happening in the UK. Look at what's happening
Canada.
in Canada. But also look at what's happening in the UK with regard to this particular issue. Because while America is busy, like there's a trans explosion happening all across America, the UK, who has already been doing it for too long, was like, actually, it turns out this is not a great plan. And they're shutting down the largest gender transition clinics in the country. They're shutting it down. So like, it's just perplexing to me that we can't look at the full extension of this and go, oh, that they actually did that over there. And it turns out that it was a really, really bad idea. So we should not let it get to this level here. They can't even do that.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's because over here it's a political ideology. In the UK, they're always kind of around the middle. They go a little bit to the right or they'll go a little bit to the left. So they'll go, okay, it's the way they go is that, okay, well, maybe they need this, blah, blah, blah. So it'll go a little bit to the left. It'll happen for a little while. And then they'll find out that medically it doesn't work or it doesn't get better. And then they'll go, oh, it doesn't work. Okay, let's shut it down. But here it's about the ideology. It's political. It's conservatives against liberals. And that's why they keep pushing it. And we are not strong enough. There are not enough people that don't care enough to stand up and go, I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to tell you this is wrong.
Right. You're sterilizing an entire generation. I could not care less what kind of names you call me.
Exactly. Hello.
I could not care less. You are sterilizing an entire generation. And that is unspeakably evil. That's just evil. You are an evil person, and I will call you. No.
You don't.
Of course you don't.
There's no. This guy's in the White House now, so all of a sudden Johnny now has a pee-pee again. That doesn't happen.
Right.
You don't come back from this stuff, man. And they know it.
They know it.
They know it. Of course they know it. All right. I mentioned when you asked who's in charge right now. Joe Biden. We never talk about him. Actually, we're gonna take a look at how Joe Biden is doing when we come back. Well, it's not going well for Grandpa Joe, okay? Which is probably why the press doesn't want to they're just like, we're just going to let him just quietly go into the sunset and focus on Kamala now because Joe Biden was on stage over the weekend. He was meant to introduce the Indian prime minister on stage, except that's not actually what happened. Watch.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next?
Gotta be kidding me.
Who's next?
Oh, no.
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Oh, wow.
That's the guy who's supposed to be running
us, please forgive
the country.
Us. We repent for the absolute abomination.
We're sending troops back into the Middle East. We're getting our hands involved in multiple different wars going on, and that is who is in charge of the nuclear codes.
Yay!
Pass me the football. What's the code again?
It's so bad. Who's next?
Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we sending the troops? I don't know. Where are we going? I don't know where we're going.
He was like mad that his staffers wouldn't answer him. Sir, you're on a microphone, on a stage.
You're live.
The world.
You can't do that. Oh my God. Things are going great. Can't wait to see what we come up with tomorrow to talk about. Thanks, guys.